Well, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host, Josh, and it's a fun day today. I'm excited. It is time. Well, I'm assuming it's almost time for the roster drop for the Canadian men's national team for their final window before the World Cup. Now, this is a massive window. We've already got some leaks coming out. I don't 100% know when it's going to drop, so this could just be pure speculation. But however, we're just gonna roll with it. So that way we'll have some interesting conversation at the very least. Let's hope until it actually drops, and then we can digest some of the news. So I've already seen some people mentioning Kolyosho. We'll get into that. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that it drops at 1. It's my guess, but I don't 100% know. So if you guys have nothing to do and you're able just to chill with me until it actually drops, then that is always welcome. But I don't know exactly when. I went live, wanted to discuss it. There's some cool couple leaks so far. Kolyosho was the big one, so we figured, you know what, why not? Let's just go live and hope it comes out. So we could be here till 3. I mean, come on, guys. It's Soccer Canada. We don't 100% know, but let me know, guys, down in the comments already what your guys' thoughts are on the 2 potential leaks. I mean, Kolyosho has basically been, well, he has been confirmed. Wheeler mentioned it, as well as Espanol. If you guys haven't seen, they basically put out a tweet as well as an Instagram post mentioning that Luka Kolyosho will be in this camp, which surprised me a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think the Kolyosho one is a potential cap to bring him in and show, hey, this kid's good enough, we want to lock him down now? Do you think it was a reaction to Stefan Mitrovic? Because that's a big loss. We just lost out on Flores a little while ago, and now we've lost out on Mitrovic. Is this a reaction to that, or is it the fact that this kid's talented and we want to get him in here? Because you'd assume with this being the final window before the World Cup, this should be basically the squad. Now, there are some injuries. We don't know exactly who's going to be a part of the camp. Buchanan's up in the air. I mean, Osorio's hopefully going to be back. You also have Hutch. So I don't know how many spots that there's actually going to be. So it makes this very, very interesting to take a look. And now the fact that Kolyosho has been included and it's been confirmed, because Soccer Canada is taking their sweet time before actually announcing the squad. I don't know. I wasn't really expecting it. Soccer Canada did just put out a tweet. Absolutely teasing. It's not the roster though. No, they just put out a tweet, but it's about buying jerseys. They are okay. All right, well, we could be here for a while. I don't know, but let's go into the chat, guys. I asked a question earlier on Twitter. I mean, I don't know if Kolyosho is the surprise, because Kolyosho was a surprise for me, but if you think there's going to be another surprise, who would it be? And I would consider Joel Waterman a surprise for a few different reasons. Joel Waterman, hands down, deserves a call-up. I don't think anyone can question that, but he simply hasn't got one yet. So for me, if Joel Waterman actually gets called up, it would be a surprise, because Herdman has shown consistency when calling up different players. He's put a lot of faith in the guys who got him here. So for me, if Joel Waterman, despite his incredible form, got called up, in my consideration, that's a surprise. I mean, Corbiano isn't a surprise for me. He's been a part of the national team before. He's in incredible form. He's playing in the championship. That one shouldn't be a surprise. Daniel Jebsen would be a surprise. There's a lot of, Adam, my boy, has been going around taking a look at his socials. He's unfollowed everything to do with the England national team. He's followed a lot of Canada, liking a lot of Canada stuff. I just don't know if they're going to bring in Daniel Jebsen this late, but at the same time, I didn't think they were going to bring in Luka Kolyosho at this point. So it begs a lot of questions, but I don't know. And keep me posted, guys. I'm going to keep going back and forth on Twitter, but if you see it, if you see the squad, just go in the chat. Be like, Josh, it's out. I'm keeping an eye on it, but it doesn't refresh. I have to actually go over to Twitter and hit refresh. So if the squad drops, guys, just put it in the chat. Be like, Josh, bring it up. But Soccer Canada did just put out a tweet 3 minutes ago about buying jerseys. So they are really teasing us. But I was hoping you'd drop at 1, and we're just going to have to wait and see. But let's get into the chat, guys. If you're enjoying your day today and you're hopefully excited for the roster drop, be sure to drop a like, say hello in the chat as we wait patiently for our final window squad to pop up and see what players will potentially be going to the World Cup. Luke Carrier says, Kolyosho, big get. It is a big get, but I need to stress as well, guys, these upcoming matches are still friendlies. So, I mean, I feel like there's 2 sides to it. One big side is the fact that this is the roster right before the World Cup. that tells me that Herdman is seriously considering Luka Koleosho for the upcoming World Cup. There's always been, it's kind of known that when it comes to World Cup time, there's probably only going to be like 15, 17-ish players that will have a real shot in these 3 matches. So if you were debating whether to bring a player who's maybe a little bit more experienced, but still won't be one of those players to get a ton of game time, or to cap a young, talented 18-year-old, happy birthday, Luka Koleosho, it makes it very interesting because he's could be the 26th man. So, I mean, Luka has only got a few minutes of actual first-team football. He's slowly breaking into the Espanol team in La Liga. Very talented. He's been targeted by the U.S. men's national team. So this is a big get, especially after losing out on Flores and Mitrovic. So John Herdman has been incredible recruiting dual nationals. And these are the type of things that make him what he is. He's able to get players through the door. This is a big one for me. But on the flip side of that, I am surprised just because it's the last one. I didn't know if he'd be going for a player like that, but it is a big get if we're able to get him. But like I mentioned, it's still friendlies. So if Luka plays these 2 friendlies and then doesn't go to the World Cup, and then the U.S. call him in the next window after the World Cup, then he's still eligible because this doesn't cap him. These are friendlies. They don't mean anything. It has to be competitive matches to get him fully capped. Patrick says, let's make history. I like it. I like it. Canadian team looks good. We're hoping so. We're hoping so. Mark's tuned in and says, hey, Josh, how are you? I'm good, man. It's hoping it's roster drop day. This is it. This is the most excited I've been for a roster drop in a long time because, in my opinion, this should give us a lot of tells to what the World Cup squad will actually look like. But it's almost 1 o'clock. Soccer Canada just put out a tweet like 6 minutes ago, so I have a feeling that I could be up here live for a while. So, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. If it was up to me, this camp would be an expanded one, the final chance at trying out for it. I mean, we've mentioned we've wanted a bigger, like a lot of the Canadian men's national team fans have mentioned for a while now, we would like to see a bigger squad. We want to see a lot of the young talent out there come in for a window and get an opportunity. Herdman's never really done that, though. He usually brings about 25 players. And considering that this is going to be a 26-man World Cup, I'm expecting and hoping that this camp right now will have at least 26 players. That would make sense. And that's why it makes sense that a player like Luka Koleosho is included. If you're looking to get a coveted dual national that's eligible for a few different countries, specifically the U.S., and you just lost out on Flores a few months back, and then you just lost out on Mitrovic, and then reports come out that he was close to coming up and the dominoes just didn't quite fall their way. When you're looking at, like I mentioned, the World Cup roster, will Koleosho play a ton of minutes? If he makes it, probably not. But if he's that 25th, 26th man, you could cap and bring in a very talented young player, get an experience of a lifetime, help maybe get his attention from Espanol, help him even potentially break into the first team. That's a goal of Luka's right now, is to be with the first team, to stay with the first team. There's a lot of sense to be made out of this decision. But at the same time, John Herdman has been very forward about sticking it with players that got him here. And then on the flip side of that, digging even more layers, well, there's always a surprise. Every window there's been a surprise. Luka was a surprise in the final window. We somehow got Ike Ubo come up. There's a ton of different surprises. So I really don't know what to think, and I'm really excited for this roster drop. It's 1 o'clock now, so I'm having a feeling that Soccer Canada let me down, and you guys are going to be stuck with me chatting for a while. There is no tweet. I misjudged that, but that's okay. That's okay. We can just chat. We can chat. It's fine. It was bold of me to assume that it was going to be out at 1. That's an L for me. It was bold. More than likely now, if it's not out at 1, I'm honestly assuming it's probably going to be 2. So hopefully if you guys are at work today, you can sit back, you can relax. We can just speculate on what players will potentially be joining up with the national team, because now my next guest when the roster drop will be at 2 o'clock. So you guys get me for an hour, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoy it. Drop a like if you are excited, or if you're just disappointed that it's not out by now. We're getting leaks. Derek Cornelius was another leak as well, along with Luka Koleosho. Derek Cornelius has had a spectacular start to his season right now. Panathinaikos have had a fantastic start to their season, currently sitting in 4th place in the Greek league. I like it. I'm a big fan of Derek Cornelius. Every time you guys see me talk about him, I talk with such praise. I like how he was when he was a part of the Vancouver Whitecaps. Towards the end, it kind of looked like he needed a move. He jumped to Europe, took a chance, and he's been a rock at the back. So I'm happy he got that call up. But in my opinion, I thought it was going to be one of Derek Cornelius or Joel Waterman going to this camp as well as Qatar. I don't see John Herdman not including Henry. That's the big conversation. It's around Daniel Henry. Go to Twitter, go to any forum of Canadian national team talk. You'll hear Daniel Henry. He doesn't start. He doesn't deserve a place on the national team. There's a lot, and like I said, when there's a 26-man squad, everyone's got their roles. Daniel Henry's wouldn't be on the pitch. But I think it's a little dangerous because if you look at the back three, you have Alistair Johnston outside right if he plays that. If you go with the back three, if not, you have two center backs. You have Kamal Miller, who's a lock on the left, and then you also have Scott Kennedy and Derek Cornelius, who are all lefties. The left-hand side is very safe. And then you have Steven Vittoria through the middle of the back three. If something happens to Steven Vittoria, who's in excellent form, by the way, that leaves having to put either Cornelius or Kennedy there, which I'm a fan of. I'm down, but we've never seen John Herdman do that. Or having an option like Joel Waterman, who can play in that position. And on top of that, Joel Waterman can also play on outside right. Joel Waterman is a very useful player to the way that John Herdman plays. And he has never been given a chance, or hasn't been given a chance recently, which has surprised a lot of people. So it begs the question, who is going to be left out for him to come in? And if Derek Cornelius isn't getting left out, I can't see Scott Kennedy. He's been a favorite of Herdman's, and I can't really see Daniel Henry. So it's maybe they have an expanded squad and take a look at both players. I'm very, very curious because Joel Waterman is the biggest question, in my opinion, of whether he will be a part of this national team or not. And in my opinion, he's probably the most useful player to be a part of this national team. But I don't know. I have a feeling with Cornelius that unless the surprise is leaving out Henry for Waterman, I don't know. I have a feeling that Joel Waterman may not make the cut. Would ZBG be a surprise? For me, he would be. I'd be pretty surprised if he made it, especially over a player like Joel Waterman. We have options at right back and right wing back. We have Richie Larea, who can play at wing back. Alistair Johnston plays at wing back. He's very versatile, as we know. Both can play right back. If you need to, you can put Buchanan there. ZBG doesn't really have a place where if there's an injury to one of those players, you have other options. Where if there's an injury to Steven Vittoria or especially Alistair Johnston, if we play in a back three, we have no security blanket. That is what Joel Waterman would bring, and it's why he could be a very important piece to bring to Qatar. Do you think, I'm assuming, did you mean Kone? Yep. Do you think Kone is going to be there? I think he will. I don't know what this roster is going to look like because there is a lot of injuries floating around right now. So I'm going to be very interested to see who's going to be included. There's players like Liam Fraser, who's performing pretty well, albeit at the second division club in Belgium. Versus Kone, who I think brings something a little bit different than Fraser would. You kind of have Azorio, who you don't know if he's going to be here or not, especially with head injuries. Hutch as well. There's a lot of question marks about who is going to be brought to this camp. But we're going to have to see. Henry, please out. I'd be shocked if he was left out. That's what makes me nervous about Joel Waterman. Because like I said, I don't believe Henry will be left out, which means it has to be Cornelius or it has to be Waterman. And Cornelius, from what we've seen, is included. Kone has potential. Yeah. Kone's been he's been a surprise when he first got called up as well. Very talented player. That CF Montreal team is a lot of fun to watch. If you guys do not watch them right now, you should. Leading into the playoffs, they're one of the best teams in the MLS. They're star-studded with Canadian talent, and Kone is a big piece of that. He's got a lot to grow as well. He's still very raw talent, but I really like Herman's talked about it before, saying what he brings. He hasn't really seen a profile quite like it before. So I hope Kone is included, especially because I don't know what this midfield's going to look like this upcoming window. But just want the roster to drop. And I just, we're a ways away. We're a ways away. That's fine. Let's get some speculation in. It was up to me. This camp would be an expanded one, a final chance for trying out. I mean, yes and no. If there was going to be an expanded one, it would have been probably a few windows ago. I doubt the one directly before the World Cup will be the expanded one. John Herdman has shown no interest in bringing close to 30 guys. If you're asking me, 26 is probably the exact number I'd go with. Maybe 25 even, which probably would make a lot of sense because he gets to bring 26. But I don't think there's any chance that Raposo or McNaughton get brought into this camp. That's my opinion. I just think that, like I said, there's too many pieces. Waterman will give you basically everything you need for the center back position. You have other options as well if you want to get creative with bringing maybe Kennedy or Cornelius in. And then you got to leave some players out. And there's only so many spots. So if there is an interest of bringing another center back, it's going to be Waterman over McNaughton. And I'm not even convinced that Waterman will find a way into it, just given what Herdman's done. And Raposo, I don't think is very close as well. There's too many options. He's playing as a left wing back right now. You have Davies who can drop back there. You got Adekubi. You have Edwards. There's just no room. And these games, in my opinion, should be used for prep. You have the opportunity to play a couple nations outside of CONCACAF for the first time in a long time. And specifically, you have the opportunity to take on Uruguay, a very, very talented nation. Get a look at what this group can do. There's not really a reason to bring extra players like a Raposo because he's never going to break in. And yes, he's had a good season so far, but I just think he's too far down right now. Holmes is another interesting one. I mean, we don't even know if he is able to represent the Canadian national team. There's a way for him to do it. There's no guarantee or evidence out there that they're going to be able to do it, let alone in time for the World Cup. Not to burst anyone's bubbles, but I'd be very, very surprised if he's able to. But it could be a pipe dream down the line if he's able to get the paperwork he needs to represent. But I don't see him on the list. I don't think there's almost any chance that he makes it on. That would be a big surprise. Daniel Jebsen would be a big surprise to me as well. Daniel Jebsen would be a surprise just because, I don't know. When you're thinking of, I'm assuming they're going to bring 4 strikers. And I mean, again, when we talk about what John Herdman likes, he likes his Cavallini. He knows Cavallini can play some type of role. Then you got Ubo, Larin, David. So Daniel Jebsen, in my opinion, would kind of be one of those outside shots players 22 through 26. But they're using Kolyosho for that. So I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see, guys. It's good to theorize about. But Larin, David, and Davies up front, Adekubi at left back. Yeah, I'd like to find a way to get Adekubi on the pitch. If John Herdman would like to use, I mean, he can even use David out wide now. Jonathan David looked very good playing for Lille this season in a 4-2-3-1 system. He looked excellent. He played on the right-hand side as well. So you could have Davies down the left. You could have David down the right, Larin through the middle. We know Larin can play as a winger as well. I don't love him there, but we'll have to see. Josh, do you think Theo deserves a call-up? Absolutely. I would bring up Corbiano before I'd bring up Liam Miller. Liam Miller has never really performed the way he could for the national team like he was for Basel last season. And this year so far, he's really struggled. Basel's playing right now, and he couldn't find a way into the lineup. He didn't start over the weekend. His form's slowly dipping, and Corbiano playing at a much more competitive level in the championship. He's scoring, he's producing, he's a workhorse. He's been in the national team before. He's a dual national that John Herdman targeted and convinced, not that Miller wasn't. But if it's up to me, and let me know in the chat, guys, Miller, it's an interesting one. Miller, Corbiano. This window, only one can come. Who would you guys go for? I would personally go for Corbiano. Tom Holes, is he that good? I mean, again, he's playing at the championship level. And our center, like when you look at the Canadian national team center back depth chart, that is where questions come up, where us Canadians get excited because we have a talented player, very young, very raw, potentially eligible to play for the Canadian national team for a long time. He'd be a perfect option, which is why I'm not overly worried about him if he's able to get him eligible before this upcoming World Cup. But if we're able to lock him down somehow, 2026 is a huge option for him. But he's a very talented player. He's playing at a good level. He was captaining his side. I would be thrilled if we could get him to, but we don't know yet, so it's hard to speculate because there's a lot of things that have to go right for him to be eligible, which there's no proof out there quite yet that those things have actually taken place. Tomori is an English squad, as he should be. He's England's best center back. Let's go Canada, win the World Cup. Larin will score a big goal, I think. I think so. I also bring as many dual nationals as I could to taste the World Cup. I mean, I like the idea of bringing Kolyosho and Jebsen. Those are the two main dual nationals. I mean, Holmes, obviously, if he's eligible, but those are the two I'd focus on this window. If Herdman decides to bring 26, 27, which again, there's no evidence pointing that he will bring an expanded squad, but I think the taste of getting Koleosho back in is fantastic after the disastrous window Koleosho had last time. The fact that we're able to get him back in here for some upcoming matches, potential World Cup place on the line, and then Daniel Jebsen, who's been one that we've targeted for a long time. Both players aren't really playing, though. I mean, it's worth noting. Koleosho has not played a ton of minutes in La Liga, and Daniel Jebsen hasn't played a ton at Sheffield United. Probably neither one deserved to come in terms of form, but in terms of potential, dual nationals, that's probably where the angle comes from. Dash, my friend, how's it going? Borjan Golden Glove, yeah. You think so? Henry has to be included. It'd be very out of character for Herdman to rock the boat this close to the World Cup, especially. I 100% agree. I would be shocked if Henry didn't come. He, like I said, like there's when the roster is already expanded to 26, and a player who means a lot to John Herdman, means a lot to the locker room, it would be I'd be floored, absolutely floored if Henry doesn't come. I would almost prefer Joel Waterman over one of the lefties at the back because Waterman can cover multiple positions. And that's how important he could potentially be. You have Kennedy, you have Cornelius. They're similar players on top of having Kamal Miller. So I don't know if you need three lefties when it terms of covering the outside left center back or even potentially the central center back, which Herdman's never used. Joel Waterman could at least cover the right side if Alistair Johnston gets injured or something like that. Like, I don't know. It just seems like a safer bet to me than having three lefties, but I don't know. We shall wait and see. A lot of comments coming in, guys. If you're just tuning in, be sure to drop a like. Say hello in the chat. I don't know when the roster is going to be dropped, so we are sitting here speculating on when it will potentially be dropped. My guess is now 2 o'clock. But you guys are raising a lot of good points, and I'm very interested to see what it's going to look like. Given Larin's dramatic drop in form and time on the pitch, how do you feel about him coming off the bench at the World Cup? It depends on the system. I've created in my mind and on the few videos different starting 11s. I think Larin's goal-scoring form for Canada has been spectacular. It's been better, in my opinion, at times than Jonathan David's has. But there's no denying, I mean, Jonathan David's playing at a much higher level. He's got an incredible goal-scoring record as well for Canada. I would want to find a way to get Larin on the bench, but, I mean, if there's only going to be like a 4-2-3-1 system and there's going to play one striker, I would go David over Larin. But like I said, Larin is used to playing on the wing. He did it at Besiktas. He's doing it a little bit at Club Brugge. David's even tasted the wing a little bit. So I'd love to see if there's a way to play like a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, even a 3-4-3 and have David, Larin, or Larin, David. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to drop one of the strikers, it's going to be Larin. Waterman deserves a call, even if he did not get one previously. I would love to see him in. Like I said, I mean, I'm a big fan, like I said, of Kennedy or Cornelius, but I don't think we need all three. He just covers so much, and that's where I get a little bit nervous about Henry being a lock, is if something happens to Victoria, and if he can't play both, then, or all three matches, then, like, who are you going to put in there? Picture like a back four. If you could play two lefties, for example, you'd have to go Kennedy and Cornelius, and then Miller, one of the two. But other than that, you're going to have to start Henry in a back four. Or if you do a back three, you'd have to move one of the lefties in the middle, which Herdman hasn't been interested in. It's just, I don't know. It's just interesting, man. Waterboy. Y'all got any of those rosters around here? One Soccer. Armin, how you doing, my friend? Hope you're keeping well. We're all just sitting here patiently waiting for Canada to release its rosters. I don't know why I started so early. I just wanted to hang out with you guys, but I did have a feeling maybe that they'd drop it before that. But it'll come eventually. It'll come. That's why we're here. It'll come eventually. He plays in a system with Montreal, and it looks a lot like the way that Canada plays. I don't think that. Yeah, I mean, it's true. And I mean, Joel Waterman, there's so many reasons. I could list about 15 different reasons why it'd be a good idea to bring him. The biggest ones is the fact that he's got chemistry with some locks. Alistair Johnston, Kamal Miller, Kone if he does come, Piet as well. They play in a very similar system the way that Canada does. He can play anywhere basically across that back three. He can play in a back four as well. He's just gotten better and better over the years. And I mentioned this as well, but Alistair Johnston, Kamal Miller, and Joel Waterman all have excellent goal contributions. Through goals, assists, he's very good with the ball at his feet. Go look at some of the goals and assists that they've gotten over the years. From playing deep, they find a way to get on the score sheet somehow. So it's the chemistry. I think that he'd be able to fit right in through the system, the players, the personnel. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about the fact that he hasn't been called up yet. He deserved to be called up last window. He wasn't. And Herman may lean towards players like Kennedy, Cornelius that have been here, Henry that has been here for the ride. Have you discussed Jebsen following Canada on socials but not England? One Soccer tweeted it. Yeah, I mean, shout out to Freights for Crates. My boy Adam was just digging into the social medias and found some of that stuff. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, Daniel Jebsen's the person. So imagine if it's you or I. There's got to be something there. You don't just go and unfollow. Like, I don't know. It's like, imagine if I just started unfollowing like Soccer Canada and I just switched over and started following some other country. And that, like, there's got to be something to it. I don't think Daniel Jebsen, with no disrespect to Daniel Jebsen, will ever represent England at the national team level. I just think it's a fact. He's Canadian. He's got the potential to go to maybe not this World Cup, but I mean, they're hosting one in 2026. He's still playing at a competitive level. You have to imagine John Herman has had these type of conversations. One of the best managers out there in terms of getting a dual national to commit. I think it's interesting timing for us Canadian fans to keep an eye on Jebsen's account and seeing what he is liking and following and unfollowing. But like I mentioned, I don't know who would have to be dropped for Jebsen to be included. And it's not like he's lighting up Sheffield United. It'd be a similar type of reason why Kolyosho is here. It's simply because this is a talented dual national. Now, Luka Kolyosho is targeted by like a more realistic nation. Like the US want him. And it's a close one where Jebsen's options, England, Canada, there's more realistic that Canada could be there. So I don't really know what to make of it. That's why I'm waiting for this roster list to come out, because I'd be very surprised if he was included. But you'd have, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd be surprised if he was included. And if he is, then, well, that's a dual national that we've been after for a very long time. And it'd be a good way, I guess, getting him in. They're friendlies as well. And I don't know how, taking that in consideration, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I really wanted to see Ugbo this window because I think that by the World Cup, he'll be better than Larin. That's another good question. I mean, Ugbo has had a okay start, I guess, to life, but I mean, I watched him play for Troyes over the weekend. He played at left mid in a 5-4-1 system. If you guys know how Troyes play, it's very defensive. There's been matches last season where Ugbo would have like 12 touches, would score a goal, but would have 12 touches. He doesn't get overly involved, but he's a clinical striker, which is why when opportunities come his way, he's still sharp. It's a mind game to defend the way that he is playing from the front, wait for an opportunity to come your way, and still be able to have the composure to finish it. They've moved him now to the left-hand side, and he looks completely lost. I did not like that. Mama Balde can play over on the left-hand side. They got Ronnie Lopez on the right. Put Ugbo up front where he needs to play. But that was an ugly match from almost everyone on Troyes' side. Ugbo should not be playing out on the wing. That's not what he's good at. So, I mean, I wouldn't say Ugbo's form is much better than Larin's, to be honest. And then when it comes to the national team, Larin has proven no matter what, even through some of the rough patch at Besiktas last season, he's still able to score. He's a prolific goal scorer for Canada. Ugbo hasn't quite shown that yet at the national level. So I don't think Ugbo's close to taking Larin's position if it's one or the other to start. I'm concerned about the number of guys that are not playing very much right now. I mean, yes and no. Like, let's just hypothetically put a starting 11 together. Borjan playing. I'm going to do a 3-4-3 just because I think it's fun. I'm going to do a 4-4-2. Borjan's playing. Johnston's playing. Victoria's playing in great form. Johnston's in great form. Kamal Miller's in great form. Atakubi, despite Hataspor being horrible start to the season, he's still playing pretty well. All of them starter, all of them playing. That's a good back four plus the keeper. Buchanan is the option at right mid. I mean, obviously he's not playing, but Junior Hoylett is playing. We know how effective he can still be at his age. He's absolutely playing. Corbiano is playing. There's an option on that right-hand side of players who are playing at the championship level. And then Eustachio is playing, man. 4 matches in a row. Looked very good for Porto. That is exactly what you want to hear. The other option at the center mid, yes. Piet's playing very well. It's not maybe the number one option you want to start, but he's playing. He's looked very good for CF Montreal. He would kind of balance out Eustachio a little bit as well. That with those two playing together, you maybe want an Osorio or a Kone in there, but there is an option. Hutch, hopefully Osorio, some other players like that will come back fit as well. On the left-hand side, you got Davies. He's playing, looking great. And up front, you have Jonathan David, who's playing and looking good. And then you guys take your pick. Ugbo, probably Laren. Like, so, like not that worried. Miller slipping a little bit. But again, he's been one of the guys who's usually come in. Miller looks great with Basel to me. They just prefer other options. Corbiano has definitely looked better. No, but I mean, last season for Basel, Liam Miller was so influential. He started almost every single match. He looked very, very good. He just started this season off with a little bumpy, but I mean, give him a little bit more time. Hopefully he'll find his way. But if I'm looking at the two, Corbiano's playing at a higher level, and he's had a much better start to the season in my eyes than Liam Miller did. Not saying that Miller's been horrible or anything, but considering what Miller did for Basel last season, this has been a slow start for both Basel as well as Miller. And right now, he's not really a locked-in starter the way he was last season. But yeah, give him time. He'll find his way. He's never showed that he will struggle for a crazy long stretch of time. It's just right now he's not in his best form. Yep. Yeah, give him some time. You think Miller has a higher ceiling than Corbiano? Ooh, that's a hot take. I don't know about that. I'd say Corbiano's got I'd almost say much higher. I'd say a much higher ceiling than Miller. I think he's younger. He's playing at a higher level. There's just something about Corbiano that from the beginning that screamed that this kid could become something pretty special. Not saying that Miller can't. I don't know. I think that's a hot take. I think Corbiano has one. But let me know in the chat if you guys who do you think's got a higher take or higher ceiling. Because I would probably go Corbiano. I think Corbiano's got one of the higher ceilings out there. And especially getting minutes and breaking in the way that he is in the championship really impressed me. Canada, we're going to be streaming for hours now. I actually wouldn't mind seeing David at cam instead of... Now, hear me out. If I want to see... I don't want to see Jonathan David play as a true cam. I think he plays a lot better when he's got someone to play off of in terms of like another dual cam. So a perfect system would be a 3-4-2-1. And I think Canada could play that system pretty well. If you go Borjan and net, right wing back, Larea, outside right center back, Johnston, Victoria, Miller, left wing back, Davies, your two center mids, Eustachio, Hutch, Piet, whoever it may be, as your two center mids. K if he's fit, obviously. And then your two dual cams. I mean, you could throw a Buchanan up there. You could throw Hoylett up there, Osorio up there, play someone a little bit beside David, allow him to maybe jump up to join up with Kyle Aaron, who'd be up front. I think that system could work out pretty well. He's done it from time to time with Lille so far. I don't know about a true 4-2-3-1. I don't know if I'd like to see David in that. I haven't really seen him play that type of style in a long time. But the dual cam, I've seen him do quite a bit, and he's usually influential at it. Have we forgotten about Schaffelberg? No, but any of you guys watch Fairly Odd Parents? Because there was an excellent picture of one of the Nashville fans holding up Schaffelberg, and I laughed my butt off. But no, Schaffelberg's had a fantastic start to Nashville. Nashville is one of the best teams in the MLS right now. They have the all-star talent in Hani Mukhtar. He's fit in very well. He wasn't going to get those opportunities with Insigne and Bernardeschi coming to TFC. I love the move for him. I think he's going to have the potential of using the playoffs maybe to give him a bit of a jump. I'm torn of whether he could maybe make it into this specific squad or not. He definitely has a shout, but I think it will depend on who's available. Because again, he's fighting against players like Miller. He's fighting against players like Corbiano, and then like the regulars. Do you go with Raheem Edwards as an extra player who can go up the pitch a little bit? But yeah, I mean, he's definitely in with a shout. I don't know. I don't know how big it's gonna go. Loving this. We need so much of this. Canada media, way to be on it. Appreciate it, my friend. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I went live with the anticipation that the roster is going to drop at 1. So it did not. So you guys get a chat with me. So hopefully, hopefully you don't mind it. But I don't know. I was convinced. They were usually pretty good with dropping rosters around like 11. Didn't happen today. So I thought 1 would have been the better option. Didn't happen. So now my guess is 2. So we'll chat here for a while. It looks like we got 33 minutes if I'm right for the second time running. But it's fun. We got to speculate. Usually I jump right around the time I think it's going to drop. It drops, so we don't get to speculate as much. There's a lot to speculate about. Schaffelberg, Jebison, Holmes, which is very unlikely, but you never know. You never know. Will Corbin be there? Will Miller be there? McNaughton. I don't know. Kolyosho and Cornelius are the only ones, and they're both interesting because, like I said, Kolyosho is the dual national that you want to cap. That is being targeted by realistic nations that could get him. And this is a great option to get him in, give him an actual camp instead of the disaster that we had the last window, and maybe flirt with that World Cup spot, being one of those, that 25th, 26th man. Other one's Cornelius, because like I said, I think it could have implications on Joel Waterman. But you guys are just joining us today. Be sure to drop a like, ladies and gentlemen. Say hello. Put in your bold prediction for this upcoming roster drop. Let's see if I'm streaming until Saturday. Who knows? We'll have to see when it drops. But Jefferson, I think, is on the fence. I'm sure he has a dream of playing for England. He's still young, so maybe worried to commit. Which, I mean, yeah, but like I said, he's Canadian, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he'd love to have the potential of representing England as well, but you got to look at where you're playing. He's playing at a very good level, but he's not actually influencing or playing. He doesn't feature much. It's why he was loaned out at the beginning of last season. He did very well in League One. He was given opportunities. He was brought back, did nothing with Sheffield United. They held on to him. He's doing nothing really again. He's very, very far away from getting into this England side. And there's no guarantee he will ever get in. Now, that also raises the question, like, if he thought he had a shout of getting in to the 2022 World Cup, I feel like he might have committed a little bit earlier just to give him more of an opportunity. He's got a lot of time until 2026 to decide whether he's going to think he's going to make it with England or not. And if he doesn't, then there's a great opportunity to go to a World Cup with Canada. But we'll have to see. Osorio just spoke to the media, and he thinks he'll be able to join Canada for this window. That's good news. Head injuries are always a little worrying. So I wasn't sure what was going to go on with Osorio. I think I saw Michael Singh tweet out that he was back in training or something along those lines that showed like a pretty good update on how he's doing. But Osorio is going to be an important player. Obviously, he's been linked with a move to Greece. Didn't happen. Which is probably smart, having the opportunity to go to a World Cup. There's no better platform in the world to lead to a World Cup. He is at the age of 30. This is probably his last opportunity to do it, knowing that the World Cup is coming up, that he could be a game changer with Canada, that he could get some heads, and then he leads into free agency. Going into January, that's exactly what you want. And Pathanaikos also said that we could potentially come back for Osorio in January. So even if he doesn't really play very well or anything at the World Cup, that same club could still be interested in him, plus some other ones. His goal is Serie A. Maybe like a Sampdoria, Empoli type team could come looking at him. But if he wants to go a little higher than the Greek league, playing in the World Cup and being a free agent is the best way to do that. When is the roster dropping? I don't know. It's a waiting game. I was boldly thought it was going to be 1. Now I'm predicting 2. So hopefully you guys enjoy my company until then, but who knows? It could be 3. It could be 5. I don't know. It's a guessing game. I've been pretty good. Like I said, I've been pretty good with guessing because they used to be pretty consistent around the 11 a.m. Today was not the one. Corbiano, nearly 3 years younger than Miller, just saying. Yeah, and playing at a higher level. I don't know. I don't think it's much of a debate. I'm pretty sure Corbiano's got a decently higher ceiling than Miller. But we shall see. Kolyosho got a call. He did. Very exciting, man. And like I said, I don't know if after the success we've had of recruiting dual nationals and then losing out on Mitrovic and Flores, if this was just like a statement, getting Kolyosho when knowing the U.S. are also targeting him, to get him back in here after a disastrous previous window that he was probably a part of, I think it's a big statement. I really do. I was impressed that we got him back like this, but again, there's no real risk this window for Kolyosho. He can still play in both matches. It does not cap time. So you got to take that into consideration. I feel like this is a good step because this is the window before World Cup. There's interest, give him a real opportunity, play against a couple nations like Qatar and Uruguay. I mean, it's nothing but good things, but it doesn't solidify anything yet. The last position we need to fill is left winger. We have Davies and Liam Miller. We desperately need for Qatar as another strong midfielder like Mitrovic. Well, there is other options. I mean, Mitrovic would have been nice, versatile, playing very, very well right now. But you have players like Schaffelberg. You have Corbiano as well. Corbiano just started when did he play? Yesterday at a left wing. So, I mean, I wouldn't say left winger is overly important. And more than likely, even if we did get Stefan Mitrovic to be a part of the team, he probably wouldn't have played. Same way, like Corbiano probably won't play too much, having like Alphonso Davies there. More than likely, like a 75th and then later left winger. But there's other options and guys who can do that. So disappointed in the loss of Mitrovic. He would have been huge for us. He would have. But I mean, like I said, at the very least, hopefully it's just a kick in the butt to go get at some other dual nationals. And I mean, for me, Daniel Jebison and Luka Kolyosho are two of the biggest ones. This is a big step to get Kolyosho involved. Doesn't mean anything yet. And I mean, Daniel Jebison's social media suggests anything. I mean, there could be some conversations going on behind the scenes, but yeah, I mean, it's disappointing to miss out on Mitrovic. I've been impressed with him taking a chance going to Serbia, finding his way to get to Red Star, but just wasn't able to close the deal. We wish him all the best with Serbia, but we move on. There's other targets out there as well, and we got a good core with us, but you never want to miss out on a dual national. Just like the U.S. will be pretty annoyed if they miss out on Kolyosho to us. Any Canadian players from Rangers? Well, we got Scott Arfield there, retired former captain of the Canadian men's national team. So, Scotty Boy's there. I mean, I don't know about disappoint. There's no getting around the fact that he loves showing loyalty to the players that helped get us to where we are. But there's been surprises in almost every single roster. Like, think back to when Kone got capped and the influence that he had in that decision. There was Luka Kolyosho when he got brought up last time. There was Ugbo just going out of nowhere and finding an eligible dual national and getting him in immediately. Like, there's been options for surprise. Has there been consistency in the rosters? Of course, but I don't know. I mean, to me, Luka Kolyosho was already a surprise for this roster. I'd be shocked, like I said, if like a Daniel Jebison was also included. But this is a surprise. Like, the fact that we got Luka back. And Joel Waterman, for me, again, is the big question mark. I would be surprised if he was included, just because I thought Cornelius would probably be the man drop for that. I think it's a little unfair on Mark-Anthony Kaye. I think Mark-Anthony Kaye has been a very good player for the national team. I think that he is the probably number one option to play alongside Eustachio if Hutch isn't available. Hutch definitely won't play all three matches, not start all three matches. So, I mean, I'd be surprised. I think Kaye is probably the main man. Piet's form is impressive, but I don't know. They're very different players, Piet and Kaye. It'll depend on the type of situation, who you want to play beside Eustachio. But I mean, there's no doubt that Kaye will be a part of it. And again, I'd be surprised if Henry wasn't. U.S. wants Kolyosho for the U20 World Cup and 2024 Olympics. Don't think he's a senior player for them. No, and those are interesting offers as well. But I mean, it is interesting. Like, the U20 World Cup is a very cool opportunity. The 2024 Olympics is a very cool opportunity. South American, North American countries take the Olympics a lot more serious than the European sides do. But at the same time, so there's that from the U.S. and then there's a potential World Cup maybe in 2022 in a couple months' time. You know, like I don't know. It depends. I don't know what type of conversations are going around the back, but both have interesting things to offer to Koleosho, and just kind of, I guess, where he sees his future and what's more important to him. I know for a fact that Luka's number one goal right now, guys, is to break in with Espanyol. It's what he wants to do. He's been on the bench a few times. He came off, but he's still a little ways away right now for I think becoming a regular player coming off the bench. But at the very least, is going to be curious to see maybe what this upcoming window looks like for him, how much he would play. Because again, these are all these minutes that we're going to get in the next couple matches is an opportunity to see how John Herman wants to line up at the World Cup. What players will be important to start, which players will be important to come off the bench. It's only 2 matches. I'd basically expect the best 11 both times. So how many minutes do you want to allocate to a player like Koleosho if you're not planning to bring him to the World Cup? Same could be said for Daniel Jebison if he's included. And it's the reason why I think players like McNaughton or Raposo won't be included, because these minutes are important. You need to see who can be an impact player, whether it's Corbiano, whether it's Miller, whether it's Schaffelberg, whoever it is coming off in the 70th minute. How can they influence the match? Do you want to see them at the World Cup, or do you want to give it to an opportunity for Koleosho? I mean, if they're going to bring Koleosho, they're going to give him some minutes. But I think depending on how many they give him could be could tell us a little something whether he's truly an option for the World Cup or not. No, not the Mitrovic from Fulham. No, he'd been a great striker to get. No, Stefan Mitrovic plays in Red Star. Nothing, eh? Nothing from Soccer Canada. Getting impatient now. It's coming. I'm telling you guys, it's coming. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock is my bold claim to hopefully figuring it out. Cornelius is a must. Need to replace Henry. Henry's too slow. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Like I said, Henry's input to this national team comes from a leadership perspective. Maybe a player coming on late to lock down a match. But I'd be much more comfortable with a player like Joel Waterman coming on to do that job. So I don't know. There's been no suggestion that Henry isn't going to be included. The fact that Cornelius is very interesting to me because I thought maybe Waterman would be the guy. We're going to have to wait and see. I think the center back question is the biggest one I have about which ones will be here. And just in the back of my mind doesn't mean I'm right. I don't honestly know. But the fact that Cornelius is included tells me that there's a possibility that maybe Waterman isn't. Or a surprise. It could be Henry that isn't. It could be Kennedy, or maybe he did bring an extra center back. I thought the bubble would be around the question mark of Waterman, maybe Henry, but I doubt it. Cornelius. Which one is going, which one isn't? Or maybe Kennedy's start to the season really made Herman question. I don't. It's interesting, man. I don't know, but I feel like Waterman has to be a must, and I would be pretty disappointed if he's not in there. He answers a lot of what we need at the back. Agreed. K is also not in form. He's not on form, but again, when it comes to the national team, he's a player who can perform. We've seen it in the past. We've seen it with like same as Kyle Larin, man. Kyle Larin had a very poor season last year at Besiktas. He always performed for the national team. He's been a good player. K is a little bit similar as well. K's been a good addition to that midfield when Hutch isn't available. Yes, maybe he's not on form right now, but it doesn't mean that this isn't like you feel something a little different when you throw on the Maple Leaf, when you represent your national team. It's always a little kick in the butt that you need. I wouldn't be worried about K's form going into this. Would I like him to maybe play a little bit more? Yeah, of course, but I don't know. He's not a question mark I'm overly nervous about. It would be Henry. It would be how much Henry actually plays in this upcoming window, how much they're planning on utilizing him, because he doesn't play for TFC. He's very prone to make an error when he plays for the national team recently. And when you have a player like Joel Waterman, who is playing for one of the best sides right now in the MLS, who's got chemistry with numerous players in the national team, who is just such an influential player and a versatile player at the back, and it's in a bit of a position that we kind of need a little bit of depth. It would floor me if Henry was dropped, but it would pump me up if we were able to squeeze Waterman in there, and I don't know how they're going to do it. And my assumption is that it should be a 26-man roster because that is what John Herman is allowed to bring to the World Cup. He usually calls up 25 for the last few. So, I don't, like I would hope he brings 26. And like I said, having a player like Koyosho tells me it'll probably be 26 because he's that extra guy. He's the guy who's here, hopefully, maybe to get a look at bringing to the World Cup, a look at actually cap tying him in the next window or the window after, giving him experience of what it's like to be part of the national team. So you want to assume that this next window is going to be a 26 man. Just to me, it wouldn't make sense. And Herdman's never shown interest of taking more than that. Is One Soccer showing both games? Yes, they are. Shout out to One Soccer. Subscribe for all the best Canadian soccer coverage. Who's the last non-CONCACAF team Canada played? It was Iceland back in 2020. It has been a very, very long time since the national team has played anyone. And let me just go over quickly, guys. Let's show you the last time. We played a nation outside of, which is why I'm so excited to see Qatar and Uruguay matches, because it has been forever. I'm not going to count up how many matches it is, but it has been a long, long time. What is this? Dominica. Did I go too far back? I think I did. Where is Iceland? There it is. January 15, 2020, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a quick peek. I'm going to share the screen here. This is the last time the Canadian men's national team have played a nation outside of CONCACAF. Iceland, January 15th, 2020. And let's take a look at the roster. Look at that. But that's actually it's interesting, man. Thinking back, look at that. Strikers definitely changed. Crepeau, Larea Didic is back in the national team. Shout out to him. Kamal Miller, rocking number 17. Atakubi, Liam Fraser, Piet, Charles Brim. I'm surprised he's got capped. I forgot got capped all the way back then with Azorio as well. Akindele and Ricketts up front. Who's on the bench? Coutinho, Pantemis, Cornelius, Manjikar James. He's finding some success right now. Russell Tybert as well. Jay Chapman, Theo Bear, rocking number 9. Schaffelberg, Akello, Tristan Borges. That was the window that he was called up in after his incredible CPL campaign. Ashton Morgan, Jaden Nelson, Strom as well, Marco Carducci, and Basson. That's a very, very different looking team. Last time the Canadian national team have played someone outside of CONCACAF, guys. So I'll just leave that on the screen for you guys. Just gonna take a nice look at. It's needless to say, I'm very excited to see what it's finally going to be like to take on Qatar, but specifically Uruguay. That is the one for me that is going to tell us where we're at. And considering how the U.S. did against them, I don't know. I have a decent hope that we can put in a pretty solid performance. Is Cavallini's recent behavior going to play into any of this? I doubt it. I think Herdman knows the player. Herdman trusts the player. I don't think this is going to deteriorate any of that. However, with the next comment, with Cavallini's recent behavior, is this the ideal time to capitalize on Jebbison? That's the question. I would be surprised if Herdman held Cavallini's behavior against his position with the national team. But if he did, if there's an option to join up with Laren David Ugbo, the number one player I'm calling is Daniel Jebbison. And then if I'm Daniel Jebbison, what do? I unfollow England. I follow Canada. I like everything that Canada's putting out there. Let's theorize, guys. It makes sense, but I doubt it. Again, I'd be floored if Henry and Cavallini, or even one of the two, wasn't included in this roster. Floored. But what do I know? I don't know the behind the scenes. I don't know every detail around it, but I know John Herdman, and I know that he likes both players, and that's kind of what I'm going off of. No, the 3 keepers are set in stone, and I think there's a ginormous gap between 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, 5. Borjan, number 1. Can't argue that. Crepos probably still number 2, and Dane St. Clair is creeping right up on him. St. Clair and Crepeau are number 1 keepers for I mean, I know it doesn't matter, but their performances, the performances of Dane St. Clair, the MLS this season, have been nothing short of spectacular. In my opinion, St. Clair's outperformed Crépeau. Crépeau plays with a very good side in front of him. He's had his moments as well. But I just think it's those three, and then there's a giant gap for whoever 4 or 5 could be. Quick thoughts on Porto's embarrassing performance against Club Brugge. Nightmare game for us. Eustachio, the whole Porto team. Poor Larin didn't play. Tejan injured. Yeah, I saw a tweet and it was like a worst case scenario. Porto gets mangled. Not Eustachio didn't stick out in terms of having a worse game than anybody else on that team. Let's not kid ourselves. Porto were dreadful. Shout out to Club Brugge, top of the group. Looked very good. Larin wasn't used, and Tejan is still injured. So yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, I would have thought, and I predicted that Porto were going through in that group. I think they're a good club. They had a really good season last year. They've had a decent start to their season this season, and had a fair fight against Atletico that didn't suggest that at home they were going to lose 4-0 against Club Brugge. Like, I don't know. That was not ideal. I would have preferred Porto to win. Eustachio having a great match. Larin wasn't used, whatever, and then Buchanan is out. But yeah, not a great case, because now if you're Club Brugge, you're looking at that team right there. That starting 11, and maybe even a couple of players who came off the bench. That team away from home mangled Porto. Larin wasn't involved. That does him no favors. And then Buchanan, I mean, I never really worried about Buchanan because he's been a straight up starter every single opportunity he's had with Club Brugge. But he's been out for a while. I still lean on the side that he more than likely will walk back into this team, but the options to maybe keep him out a little bit are there. So the better Club Brugge play, I mean, the harder it will be to disrupt that a little bit to get Buchanan in there. And as for Porto, that sucks, because now you're looking at that team. Like, that team at home just got absolutely ran over by Club Brugge. Who's a part of it? Well, Eustachio, there's been question marks around him. He's found his way to break in. But the nice thing is that, like I said, he didn't play any worse than anybody else on that Porto side. But yeah, that was a tough one. Not the way that we wanted it to go. Do you think Henry will break the roster? I do. I think Daniel Henry will be a part of this roster. I would be shocked if he wasn't. But it just, I don't know. It begs the question of who's left out for Waterman to be included, or does Herdman bring a bigger roster? I don't know. Been talking for a while, ladies and gentlemen. It's my assumption that we were going to be good to go for 1 o'clock. I failed. I let you guys down. I'm sorry for that. But it's got to be coming at 2, right? Like, it's got to be. There's no way. It's got to be. It's got to be 2. But give me percentage, guys. Give me percentage in the chat right now from 0 to 100. What is the chance you guys think Daniel Jebison will be included? I want to know. Let me know. Light up the chat. Give me a percentage. I'll start, unless someone beats me to the punch. I'm going to put 10. I think there's a 10% chance. I'm not overly confident that he'll be included. I just think there's a lot that doesn't make sense, despite the flirtatious social media of Daniel Jebson. I don't know. I just don't see it, but we'll go through what you guys think as well. If you guys are still with us after an hour, be sure to drop a like, get your percentages in the chat of what you think Daniel Jebson joining the upcoming camp will be, as we hopefully will see a roster drop in under 10 minutes. And if not, man, we're going to be here for even longer. So hopefully I'm entertaining for you guys, because, you know, this is my bold anticipation that it was going to drop at 1, and I was wrong. You know. Okay, I'm swapping out Miller. Okay, we don't need to look at this national team anymore. There we go. We're back. That was the last team we played outside of CONCACAF. I'm swapping out Miller for Corbiano. We'll have to wait and see. Will we see Daniel Jebson? That was the question. We asked for your percentages. We'll go through it. I said 10. We should play a dual striker formation with Lair and David. Yeah, I mean, John Herdman loves using the 4-4-2. It's a dual striker system. The 3-5-2 as well. I'd assume those are the two most likely ones. That's the 4-4-2, I think, could maybe work going up against Morocco. I think like a back three will more than likely be used against Croatia and Belgium, that 3-5-2. That's kind of where I'm leaning. But I mean, every time I try to predict what Herdman does, he surprised me. Like the 4-2-3-1 at the Azteca just blew me away. And then we got a result. How are you doing an hour without an announcement? I know. It's my own fault. Usually I have like clear confirmation of around where it's going to start. And also like usually the CanMNT national team, the last few windows have announced it right around 11 o'clock. So I boldly go a little bit early, usually 10 minutes, and then it's announced and then I talk. Well, I assumed it was going to be 1 today. I was wrong. So now I'm hoping it's 2. So you guys just got stuck with me for a little bit longer. Hopefully you don't mind. We have a lot of debate. This makes it more fun. Like I said, usually I come up for about 10 minutes. We theorize, rosters dropped, all those theories are dead. But now we got something to push on. We got something to see here, guys. A lot of question marks, man. There's a ton of question marks about this upcoming one. My boy Chris is tuned in. Cannot wait to get angry all over when Mitrovic is not listed in the squad. I doubt it. I bet you he'll be included in Serbia's. Yeah, but I watched the game. Saki was one of the only bright spots in that game. I mean, he was decent, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's many bright spots. But like I said, Eustachio didn't have like a unbelievably, like he didn't stick out poorly more than anyone else on that Porto side. So hopefully that doesn't hurt him too much. But I asked the question, percentage of Daniel Jebsen being included. I said 10%, let it on off. You guys are a lot more confident. That's 75%, 80%, 100%. Teasing it around, 0%, 90, 20, 69, dirty man. We will see. Chris says bring a 28 to 30 man roster. I've mentioned why I don't think that's likely. Like I said, I think this window should be used to see who is going to start at the World Cup. This is a great opportunity to play good nations. Start your best 11 both times. See who's going to be an influential player to come off the bench, maybe fight for a starting spot. Maybe toss Luka some time because you brought him in and if you're planning on using him. Herdman's never been a man to bring more than really 25. The fact that he can bring 26 to a roster and Kolyosho is included, that makes me think it's going to be 26. But I'd be surprised if it's more than 26. That's my guess, but we'll see. Because this should just be prep. This should just be get the players that you want to see at the World Cup. Some chemistry together. There's not a lot of time. There's 2 matches left. We butchered the last window. Not that matters as much, but this is the number 1 most important window Canada will play before the World Cup. Clearly, because it's the one before that, and we have really good opposition. Can't wait for that Uruguay match. But that's why I don't think it'll be an expanded roster. Jebsen happening, I'm telling you. I will bet my house on it. All right, Alex is putting up his house. Let's see what happens there. Let's see. There might not be a spot for him, but with risk of injuries, COVID, we may need him at the World Cup. Pull up the other team before Iceland, New Zealand 2018. All right, we'll go back through. We'll go back there. Request from the chat. Just give me a sec to pull it back up. You said New Zealand? Is that what you said? 2019? Iceland. Barbados. What did you say? What did you say? You said 20. Where'd you go? Pull up the other team before Iceland. New Zealand in 2018. Let's take a look at Herdman's first team. New Zealand 2018. First match. Lineup is there. All right, another beautiful trip down memory lane. This is not a bad one. It's got similar parts, but let's share it for you guys. As requested, to take a look at some of the... I love looking back in time, seeing the old Canadian national team rosters. They just... I love them. But this is it. Herdman's first match in charge. 4-1-4-1. Borjan, Petrasso. Man, Magikarp James. Morgan out at left back. Piet, Azorio, K. Liam Miller's in there. Ricketts is out on the right. Kyle Laren up front. On the bench, Thomas, Coutinho, Edgar, Wotherspoon, Chapman, rocking the number 10. Fraser, Cornelius, Atakubi, Raheem Edwards. Oh, I never gave proper shout out to Akindele. I did a little bit on Twitter, but the man won the US Open Cup, so still having some fun. But there you go. That's Herman's first roster that he was in charge of against New Zealand. I can see Jebison and Koleosho attending the camp, but not in the squad. I would imagine, I'd imagine if they're brought in that they will play in one of the matches a few minutes. I don't think there's any way that they come to the camp. Koleosho already did that. He came to a camp. He was supposed to get minutes. He didn't. I could see them maybe coming off in like the 85th minute, something like that. Get a taste maybe against Qatar or Uruguay. But I don't know, man. The mind of a genius like John Herman. It's hard to get in there. I have a feeling you're going to be talking for a while. It's 1:58. If it doesn't drop at 2, I'm going to be a little disappointed. Sit here for a few hours with you guys. Doesn't drop till Thursday. Be livid. Nothing, eh? 1:58. 2 minutes. Canada soccer, man. I haven't been wrong yet. I've never done this before. I usually, I come live and the roster drops in like 10 minutes. This is a miscue. If it doesn't drop till 3, I'm gonna be very disappointed. I got crap to do, man. And I need this roster to get on with my day. So you're slowing me down. Oh, JJD TV, do you think Holmes will sign up for Canada eventually? It depends, man. It depends. There's a pathway for him to play for Canada. I just don't know if it depends on other situations. So there's a pathway, yes, but it could be stopped pretty close. I don't know. Some social media rumors are going around that he's inquiring. He's been liking some of the Canucks Abroad tweets. Shout out to our friends from Canucks Abroad. Or he's been liking some tweets from I can't remember. But someone said he's liking tweets because they're asking about whether he's gonna be part of the national team. It was probably Adam, but I don't know. If they're able to get him eligible, then I think at one point he will play for Canada. It's just depending on whether they can pull it off or not. And I don't have the answer for that. JDD says 10%, then it's not happening. Wheeler would have came out and leaked it if there was any truth. I don't know. Some of you guys are saying that Alex has been pretty excited about it, but I don't know. Usually there's some rumblings of something. I guess there is kind of rumblings around Jebison, but I don't know. It's a gut feeling. I could be wrong. We'll have to see. Oh, there it is right there. He thought there was a strong chance of Jebison on the team today. Alex. Could be. Alex is a trusted source. Need to bug him later today for a video for One Soccer, so we need this roster to drop. But you just don't want to. 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock. This is it. This is it. Please. I'm going to give it like a minute, and then I'm going to refresh. I don't have a great feeling. I have a feeling I'm going to be here till 3. Do you think World Cup is the last time we'll see Hutchinson, Borjan, Vittoria, the older players? I want to assume that Hutch will get to 100 caps. So I don't know how many he's going to get, or if he's going to be able to pull it off. Like, if he doesn't hit 100, which seems unlikely before the World Cup, then I think he's going to hit 100 caps. He's 3 caps away. The World Cup, if he hits 100 caps and he gets to play in the World Cup and get a go out, I think that's a beautiful way for Hutch to call it. I want him to get his 100 caps. Borjan, I don't think he's close yet. I think Borjan could be with the national team for a few more years. Probably same for Vittoria, until maybe Waterman really steps up and takes that position over, or someone else. I think, Hutch is the only one, man. He's almost 40 years old. Yeah. We'll see, but I'm going to check over on Twitter. It's 2:01. I don't think it's out. Why? Well, still stuck with me. eating me away a little bit right now, but that's fine. It's fine. It's like it's the speculation. It's fantastic. Uruguay will only be our third non-CONCACAF team. It's wild that David Laren Davies goals have been against CONCACAF teams. Yeah. 4 p.m. EST is my guess. That's fine. It's fine. We're having 24-hour stream. No, I don't know what I'm supposed to call it. Okay. It's fine. This is fun. We're having fun. They have 3 games to go. Last friendly, November 19th against Japan in Qatar. That'll be a good one. Just join the screen right now. What's up with the players on the screen? The players on the screen was John Herman's first match taking over the Canadian national team against New Zealand. Curious to see what players are still involved. It was requested from a viewer. But think Liam Miller will ever go back to Liverpool? I'd say there's a 0% chance of that. Will he ever go back to England in the championship? Probably. I'd say that's maybe his next goal. But I doubt he'd ever return to Liverpool. Kone had a good last game. All right, well, guys, it's time to get a little bit more. Okay, let's have some fun here. We're gonna build, unless it's been out, which it's not. So, we're gonna build the 26-man roster. We're gonna have some fun because apparently it's just never gonna end. So, we'll have some fun. I'm gonna bring up some type of list here. And Soccer Canada, you let me down. And we're going to build our predicted roster. So I'm going to use you guys to see who's going to be included and who's not. So, here we go. So I'm going to share my screen, guys. I'm going to use you guys in the chat quite a bit. And let's pick 26 because I think that's safe. Just put this here. Right, that should all fit on the screen, right? So this is my roster. Hopefully you guys can see that. I think you can see that pretty well. All right. So let's have some fun. We'll start off. No. We're waking back up, guys. We're waking back up. I don't know when it's going to... I appreciate you guys all tuning in. If you're still with us, drop a like. I appreciate you tuning in. I'm sorry that I've been teasing this now because I assumed Soccer Canada would be on time. My fault. But we'll make it fun. I want to use you guys as well. This is a roughly predicted 11 that's just I have in my notes. So let's have some fun with it. Let's start off with the goalkeepers. Put your 3 in. 3 keepers in the chat, guys. Who do you think should be going to the World Cup? You can see who I have. Doesn't mean you have to. Doesn't mean you have to agree with me. Toss in your 3, and then we'll move on to right backs. We'll move on to the center backs. I put it in a 4-4-2 system, as you could probably see. But put it in. Let's see if we can build a starting 11 that or a 26-man roster that you guys can kind of agree with. I'm gonna go through it, make sure it was 26. So. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So that is 26. So I put 26 in my keepers, Borjan, Crépeau, St. Clair. It looks like most of you guys agree. And then we'll move on to right backs. And if you want to include more, like for example, if in the chat, if you don't agree that we should bring 3 center backs and you would like to shift to 3 right backs, put your predictions in there. Those are the 2 right backs I went with, but we'll see what you guys are saying. Order doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to, keep you guys entertained, hoping that the roster will drop in a little bit. But I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. gonna message someone. All right, let's see what you guys said. Looks like you guys are saying keepers are all locked. I agree. I agree. I spelled Crepeau wrong. Or no, you're just saying Crepeau. All right. On to right backs. Crepeau. Right back's good. Would we include 3? Johnson, Larea for right backs. Right backs are good. Yeah, I feel like the back isn't going to be like massively massively different here. Trying to get some knowledge for when this is gonna drop, guys. No Edwards. All right, we'll say okay. Keepers are good. Doesn't seem like anyone had anything to say about St. Clair, Crepeau, Borian. Right backs, I just went with Johnston, Larea, as we know. I mean, but if you go in a back 3, Buchanan can shift down if need be. So now let's go for center backs, guys. Let's go for center backs. We seem to agree as a community, which is excellent to know. But this is where I think the issue would come in. Now, I'm not going to count Holmes, okay? No Holmes. We're just going to assume that he's not eligible in time. Just to save the discussion. I know it's probably fun. But there's just not enough evidence out there to show that he could be included. So I went with 5. I went with Victoria, Waterman, Cornelius, Kennedy, Miller. Now, it's probably unlikely. Like, I don't know if you guys want to do likely or what do you want to do? Likely or what will happen? Because likely would include Henry. And if we want to do what we want, I feel like a lot of us wouldn't have Henry. And that's where the issue comes in because there's 5 center backs here. So, like, for example, if Henry was included, you could take Edwards out. And then if need be, Davies can play at left back. Kamal Miller can slide over to left back. You still have, look how many lefties are still in the team. Cornelius, Kennedy, Miller, Atakubi, and Davies. And 3 of them can play left back. Atakubi, Davies, Miller. Atakubi and Davies can play wing back. Buchanan can play left wing back. So I think probably I'm going to put it to you guys. Henry or Edwards. It's bold. And it's probably not likely. One of the other ones will drop. But let's see what you guys want for this specific squad. Some of you guys are saying 6 center backs, Henry in. Some are saying no Henry. Real not Henry. Last 10 games, how many times did you see Cornelius in 0? He's not, but Cornelius isn't, from the leaks, he is included in this roster, which is interesting. Alex is saying Henry. Henry's fine for the bench. All right. Go predicted, not preferred. All right. Well, if we're going predicted, that to me puts Edwards in a bit of a predicament, or honestly, Joel Waterman. Outside left center back, you got Miller, Kennedy, Cornelius. Right center back, Victoria Henry. All right, I think we're going to go with Henry. So I think for the center backs, we went with 6. And there's logic behind it. You have Henry, Cornelius, Kennedy, Waterman, Victoria, Miller. And then that only leaves one natural, well, not one natural left back, but you have Atakubi there. And you know that Davies can slide in at wing back, left back if need be, but I doubt it. Kamal Miller, for an emergency situation, can play at left back. He's done it before in the past. And on top of that, Buchanan plays left wing back in a back 3. Don't really want him to play there, but there are options. And then that leads a character player like Henry on the squad. It brings in Waterman for the outside right center back, central center back. So to me, that kind of makes more sense. Now we'll move on to left back. Does anyone think that we need to include another left back? Or is Atakubi, Davies, Miller, Buchanan-ish enough? Because we got to drop someone if we include someone else. Edwards over Henry's a spike. It's spicy, but it's not realistic. It's not. Like I said, I'm pretty sure if Edwards was to sneak into this squad as it is right now, it would mean Cornelius, Kennedy, Waterman would probably be dropped. Yeah. Atakubi, Davies will be up front. All right, we're gonna, because like I don't know. To me, it makes sense. When you have still Davies, Miller, and Buchanan, who can kind of feature at left back / wing back, which is probably what Herman's gonna play. Doesn't really have a need for Edwards. He's kind of be that extra guy, but I think Waterman would have a much bigger opportunity to play a role than Edwards would, and Henry's a vocal player. I'm not convinced that Edwards comes in and actually plays, so it's kind of what I'm going to go with. Why, Soccer Canada, do you not want to release the roster? Okay. Lorea can play left back too. That's another excellent point. So yeah, that to me makes a lot of sense. Lorea can absolutely play at left back too. And then you have Davies, and then you have Miller, and then you have Buchanan at wing back. So we're gonna roll with it. Now we're gonna go to right mid. Buchanan and Hoylett, is that enough? Does Corbiano sneak in? I don't think I had Corbiano on this list. I don't know when I didn't just make this list. The center mids will be the most fun. So we'll do right, then we'll do left, and then we'll do the center mids. I think that's where the bulk will come from. You got the bubble players over here on the side. Keep an eye on them. I guess this becomes Edwards now. But there's no way you don't bring both. So I don't think right mid has Holmes sneaking into the roster, eh? I'd be shocked. Hour and 23. Been streaming for that long. I wasn't expecting that. But that's okay. I'm having fun. Hopefully you guys are as well. We'll get it eventually. Right? Like, no updates. Michael Singh just put something up though. So Jonathan Osorio says that the contract negotiations with TFC are ongoing. Though progressing slowly, I've been more focused on getting back with the injury. I think where my head is at. I'm just trying to stay focused, finishing the season. We'll see what happens. So no real update, but it's good to hear that he's getting back to fitness. Jonathan Osorio. All right. Let's see what you guys are saying. You're doing great. I appreciate it, Chris. I appreciate it. It's a long one. We'll keep it going. I think if it actually released at 4, I'd be pretty gutted. Because I do have stuff I need to get done today that relies on that roster drop. But I can't control it. So we will just be chilling with you guys. Okay. Buchanan Hoylett sounds right to me. Conan just made the bench for MLS Team of the Week. I think I just saw that. I don't know where it went, but I think I saw it. I did. Conan, right? Right, there he is. retweet while we're struggling here. All right, doesn't look like there's much. I hope Corbiano is in. So I think. Oh no, there's no breaks, man. No breaks. But I think the question will be right now. So I'm gonna let you guys decide. We're gonna go with Buchanan, Hoylett. We're going to left mid. So it's gonna be Miller, Theo. You know, in the chat, I'm doing counts now. I'm letting you guys pick. First of 5 wins. So get your vote in. Or Schaffelberger, whoever. Put someone at left mid. Is it going to be Miller? It's Davies for sure is 1. Is it going to be Kolyosho? Okay. Kolyosho's got 1. Kolyosho's got 1. Theo, Kolyosho, or Miller? Who you bringing? I guess I don't even know what I'm doing here, whether I'm doing a World Cup squad or if I'm doing this upcoming window, because we know Kolyosho is in there. I'm going to... Oh, that's a good point. We'll take Wotherspoon out. Wotherspoon it's been confirmed Wotherspoon's not going to be in this squad. So we're going to grab Luka, Kolyosho, and we're going to slide him over there. And I'm going to toss Wotherspoon up there. Keep the list intact. Drops it down to 5 mids. Is that enough? Or is Liam Miller missing out? Raposo, Theo. So it looks like you guys are going Corbiano over. Could the delay possibly getting some paperwork in order to file a one-time switch? I don't know. You guys are really speculating. I think they're just late. But I like where you guys are going. But it would be nice if it came out. It's got 40 minutes still. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go with Kolyosho then, just for fun, and Miller. Sorry, Theo. You're out. So we're going 3 mids. We're going Kolyosho, Miller, Davies. Now this is a fun one. Center mid. Now I don't know what it looks like right now. But this is who I would have for like a World Cup squad. Eustachio, Hutch, Azorio, K, Piet. So I'm going to assume for at least this upcoming window, like that's probably pretty safe. But for this upcoming window, I'm going to assume that probably one of Azorio or Hutch will not be there, which means that Kone would be. I'm just going to pop Kone in there. And then we can just, World Cup squad, yes, probably, obviously, Hutch, Azorio, Eustachio, K, Piet. Add Kone, take off Henry, Kone in. So that's what we'll do. We'll do hypothetical. We're going to assume that it's 5 of these 6 for the World Cup. I don't know who misses out or someone misses out. But for this specific window, I mean, I don't know who's going to be missing. I'm pretty sure it could be one of Azorio or Hutch. And if it is, I'm going to go with Kone. There is still Liam Frazier, but I don't, unless they're both missing, then he gets a chance, but I'm going to go with Kone. Let's see what you guys are saying. Your Excel skills are on point. Bone, I appreciate it, man. A lot of practice. Kyle Becker, unfortunately, no. Becker's time with the national team has been away. I think Kone is going to be at the World Cup. I am too. And like I said, for this window right now, I'm still counting it as 26, but I'm just putting Kone's name there because I assume Azorio or Hutch, one of the two, will not be at this window. So I'm assuming Piet, K, Eustachio, one of Hutch and Azorio, and then I'm going Kone for my 5-man midfield. And then we're keeping the extra winger, Kolyosho, Miller, Davies. So Corbiano does miss out. I think it's likely as well. But that's it. And then that leaves, guys, the fun question up top. We move on to the striker, the final position. It's simple. I mean, Ugbo, David, and Laren will be there. It's Cavallini, or it's the long shot Daniel Jebison. So I guess it's a huge speculation on if Jebison comes in because Cavallini and his disciplinary issues, or if they sneak him in for maybe an extra man. I don't know. It's tight to fit in all of these players. Like specifically right now, this list is 28 guys. So someone from the midfield, like I'm assuming Hutch or Azoria, one of the two won't be at this window. So that brings us down to 27. And if we want to get to 26, then maybe Jebison comes and a player like Liam Miller is left off. Or one of the center backs. But we know it's not Cornelius, so it would probably have to be Kennedy, which I doubt. Waterman, which I kind of think might be likely. Or Daniel Henry. Or, yeah, I guess Cavallini. Oh, it's tough. It's tough. So that's basically it. And then there is our bubble players. So Mitrovic, let's take a look at the bubble. I haven't looked at the bubble in a while. So Pasher, I mean, I doubt he'll play for the national team again. Edwards is there. Akinola, Sterling, I doubt will play for a while. Saul Pantomis. Waterspoon, it's been confirmed. Anyone who hasn't read it, that he will not be a part. Smith is a ways away. Akello, Raposo, Altissimo. Schaffelberg's kind of maybe around the bubble. Theo Bear probably won't be called up anytime soon. Corbiano's realistic. Coline's not. We never even mentioned like Gutierrez or Chouanier. I still think very unlikely that these players come. Frazier's probably likely, depending on who's available in the center mids. And then I doubt Payne doesn't even have a team. CBG, again, there's too many options right now for him to get, I think, a look. I doubt McNaughton will get a look as well. Just you see how tight this squad's going to be. And then I have Waterman already, so he can go. Didic, done. Brim, I thought I had Brim somewhere. No. Brim's another outside shot. I still think that it would be unlikely that Brim comes in, especially with Koleosho there. I don't know, man. I think if you're asking me what this upcoming squad will look like, it will look like exactly this, just with no Jebison. That's my gut. My gut saying no Jebison, and then no Hutch or Azoria, one of the two. And that's what it's looked like. That's my prediction. Let me know if you guys agree, or if there's something that you want gone. 2:30. It's got to be 3, right? It's got to be. It's got to be 3. Canada Soccer, not a thing. All right, we roll back to the chat. That's the predicted one. So you guys are saying Cavallini out, Jebison in. Call up, man. I haven't seen someone strike a ball as sweetly as young Dero does. It's actually incredible. The technique and the power he gets is second to none. I absolutely just loved watching York this season, especially with when Mo joined up and has been playing as this cam a little bit behind T. Rosario. There's such a chemistry there. I'm loving it. I would love to see York just somehow sneak into the playoffs. Unbelievably unlikely, but I just don't know if I'm not ready to watch young Dero hit a ball like that. It's incredible. It's also worth noting that Footmob has him down as an American because I believe he was born in the U.S. Ricketts easily. Jebison going to be there. Cavallini out. Jebison in. That, again, we don't know what's happening because Canada Soccer's not going to do it yet, but you never know. And yeah, and there's also the Buchanan, this upcoming window is, I don't know how it's going to round out. So let's take a look quickly about who we think is going to for sure be there. And now I'm counting injuries. So keepers, all good. Araya Johnson, good. Hypothetically, all 3 of those center backs and all 3 of those center backs could be there. All are playing, all are in shape. Same as Atakubi. Same with Koleosho, Miller, Davies. KP at Eustachio. 2 question marks around Hutch and Osorio. So both could potentially not be there, which opens up maybe Liam Fraser coming in, who's fit. Kone's fit. Hoylett's fit. Buchanan, question mark around him, maybe opening up for Schaffelberg. Maybe the Jebison could take his place. You don't know about Cavallini's, even though I don't think it'll matter, but you never know. Jebison could, maybe. And then Laren, David, Ugbo. So there's still some names on here who we don't know will be included. Do we really need 3 keepers? Yes. There will always be 3 keepers. There's going to be 3 keepers going to the World Cup for every nation, so we need to bring 3. And the nice thing is that it's cut and dry. Sinclair, Crepeau, Borjan. For me, it's very easy. Jebison. Liam Miller just checks in for FC Basel. Let's see if I can get that game on DAZN. We can do a little mini watch along. Is it on DAZN? No, they don't have the Conference League. Never mind. Ain't tuning in. It's never going to drop. You guys have been rock stars. Still tuning in. I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it. This has been fun. We basically came up with what we're assuming is going to come with the little leaks that we've had. I think it's fair. Why Kone should get in over Corbianu? That's a good question. That's a little difficult just because they're different positions. So it kind of depends on, I guess, what other players are available in those positions. But a reason why I would bring Kone over Corbianu is when looking at this team, if they line up in a back 3 and like a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2, players that could be in front of Corbianu would be Davies. You could argue Miller. If you want to get Kolyosho playing, you could say, all right, well, minutes for a young dual national that we're trying to cap. Then you also just assume maybe Buchanan gets fit in time, and then Hoylett. So he would be basically 6. But you could argue that he could be above Kolyosho and Miller, but you'd imagine that Kolyosho is going to get some minutes. Reasons for Kone, just use the words of John Herman. There's not a player quite like him. He can bring a lot to this team. He's in great form with the national team. He's young. We brought him in for a reason. And then also, we don't know what Osorio and Hutch are going to be like. So this is a player that's in form right now. He's playing with a lot of CF Montreal players who are also in great form right now. So I think there's a bigger shout to bring in Kone off over Corbiano given the positions right now, because our midfield is where the injuries are hitting us hard. Is Jebison good? Sorry to sound like a newbie. No, it's all good, guys. World Cup's coming up. This is a huge opportunity for new soccer fans to pick up the sport, find an interest in the sport, and it's a big part of why I created this channel, why we do stuff at One Soccer. It's our goal. We want newbies to be here to learn and to hopefully use this as a launching opportunity for soccer in this country, and we've come a long way. So don't ever feel like that. And if you guys are new to the chat, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub if you're new. Ask questions. It's no big deal. Daniel Jebson's an interesting player because he's very, very young. He's a dual national. I think if we can get him through the door and cap him, that's massive going forward. However, let's just be blunt. Daniel Jebson doesn't make this team better. There's nothing to suggest that he would. He is not playing for Sheffield United right now. Oh, it's out. It's out. It's out, ladies and gentlemen. I think. Oh, no, it didn't do it. Come on. Am I right? Is it out? Oh, my. It's announced tomorrow. Oh, you ruined my entire week. Oh, man. Well, you threw my whole week of work in the hole. All right. Well, that was painful. It's because they're finally have work on the timelines that are all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we were streaming for an hour and a half. We had a lot of fun speculating. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Soccer. Can't have soccer, man. Oh, man. All right. Well, I need to go figure out the rest of my work week. Threw me in a hole. Well, maybe. I guess we can speculate more. I just think it's pure just nonsense. I'm so well, maybe it makes it more likely, you know, that Jebsen is there or Holmes. All right. I'm gonna roll. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate you guys all tuning in. That is the last comment of the day. And Patrick, I enjoy it, but I really appreciate you guys tuning in, guys. It was a lot of fun. We had our guesses. We built our team at least, so we'll see how right we are tomorrow. But yeah, that's super annoying. A little more transparency would be nice. Trying to get specific things done for work would be nice, knowing when it's going to be released. Regardless, you guys have been an absolute treat. I will see you tomorrow, but I might not go live until it's actually released. So, when you see me tomorrow, it will literally be up. But I did have fun today. Hopefully you guys did as well, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will talk to you tomorrow. And yeah, so cheers, friends.